Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. In 1998, as I began building row houses on a plot of land of Kipsala, I inadvertently found out that I am doing it next to the property that used to belong to Žanis Lipke. His family still lived in the old wooden house. I had heard of Lipke at the end of 1980s when, as the director of Riga Video Center, I produced Hertz Frank's documentary Ebreju iela, Jewish Street. At that time, Frank interviewed Lipke's widow, Johanna, who has since passed away, and our archives contained many video testimonies that Frank did not use in his film. I also met Lipke's daughter-in-law, Aria, and grandson, Viesturs, and film director and my friend August Sukuts and I decided that the wonderful story of about 60 rescued people should become known to the wider public. When Latvia is being mentioned in connection with the Holocaust, it is usually as a place where Jews were killed during the period of Nazi occupation, and it is emphasized that quite a few Latvians participated in the execution squads. Yet it is equally important to know that there were also Latvians who risked their own lives and those of their families to provide shelter and other support to dozens of Jews. The Latvian Jewish community has not forgotten these rescuers. Monuments have been erected. The Jewish Museum has a special section dedicated to them. Yet we felt that it was up to us, Latvians, to highlight that exceptional heroism of these people. In 2005, we founded the society Žaņa Lipkes Memorials, and from Lipke's daughter-in-law, rented a piece of land in the area 600 square meters for 50 years to build a museum. We ordered a project for the memorial from architect Gailis, attracted private investment, and began building in 2009. The artistic concept behind the museum was developed by theater director Viktors Jansons. We also got some of the best Latvian creative minds involved: artist Kristaps Gailis, stage designer Reinis Suhanovs, and composer Jākaps Nīmanis. As is often the case with projects like this, it was not easy to collect the funds necessary for financing. Therefore, construction was completed only 3 years later. As of July of last year, the museum has been open to visitors, albeit the official opening has not yet taken place. And to date, we had already more than 1,500 visitors. I hope you will all see the museum, so I will not dwell on it. The goal of Žanis Lipke Memorial is to emphasize courage and humanity as core values of society. In achieving this goal, we are collecting, preserving, and popularizing the facts concerning Žanis Lipke and all other surveyors, all the people who provide support to victims of the Nazi occupation regime, activities in the whole Latvia territory. Suffice it to say that the architectural project of the memorial received much recognition at the World Architectural Festival that took place last autumn in Singapore. Last week, the museum was awarded in the annual Latvian Architectural Award ceremony. Here you can see Žanis with Yad Vashem medal. Who was Žanis Lipke? He was a man of a few years of elementary school education who worked as a dock worker at the Riga port. He and his wife Johanna were parents to 3 children. When the war began, the eldest daughter Aina was evacuated behind the front lines because of her work with the Komsomol in 1940. As the Germans occupied Riga in 1941, the police found out about Aina's activities and came to the Lipke house to arrest her. Not finding Aina, they gave Žanis a severe beating with Johanna, the 6-year-old Alfred, and 16-year-old Alfred and 8-year-old Siegfried forced to watch. It is possible that this humiliation was one of the motives behind Žanis Lipke's decision to take actions to secretly subvert Nazi plans. After taking a special course, Žanis was accepted for employment at the Luftwaffe warehouses. These so-called red warehouses were located near the Jewish ghetto. Among his duties was to receive Jews from the ghetto for warehouse work. There was a certain number of workers allotted to him, and in the evening he had to return the same number to the ghetto guards. Manipulating the numbers so that the Germans would count two where there was only one, Lipke did not return to the ghetto Chaim Smolansky, whom he had known before the war. Smolansky was hidden in the flat of Lipke's acquaintance in the center of Riga and then brought across the Daugava to Lipke's house in Ķīpsala. Using ingenious ruses and deceptions, Lipke started getting the Jews out of the ghetto or labor and concentration camps and hiding them in various locations in Riga. These locations were not safe, and it was too risky to stay there for long. After a while, Lipke used his acquaintanceship with Willis Bienenfelds, the head of the Dobele parish, to rent the Reshny country house near the town of Dobele, almost 100 kilometers from Riga. The rescued Jews, about 36 people, were taken there, and two other farms, Miltiņa and Mežamaki. Using their own muscles, the rescuers dug bunkers under the floor of the house or granary that were used as shelter by the escapees as late as the summer of 1944. Needless to say, the journey from Riga to Dobele was very risky. Jānis Briedis, Lipke's friend, was the driver. Using fake consignment notes, he bought firewood, furniture or timber to Dobele with people hiding underneath his cargo. Briedis and Lipke used to pick up hitchhiking auxiliary policemen because that way they could avoid too scrupulous a search by the road patrols. Žanis and Johanna Lipke's Ķīpsala house at 50 Balasta Dambis served as a way station. In January 1942, Žanis dug the first bunker under the woodshed, right here. The dug-out earth was scattered in the nearby ravine and covered with snow so that strangers would not notice. During a thaw, the first bunker filled with water from the melting snow and collapsed. For the next one, Žanis used better materials and his newly acquired expertise. The bunker that measured 3 to 3 meters at times sheltered as many as 12 people. Johanna had to feed them all, and that too was not easy. In our interviews, she said that she kept dozens of chickens and ducks. Every day, she took a boat across the river to find scraps of food to feed the animals she kept for slaughter. Her days were filled with risk and work from dawn to dusk. Among the Jews confined to the ghetto, rumors started spreading that he was rescuing people. All you had to do was to find him. People started writing letters, passing notes. Lipke arrived, promised to help, and at the preordained time, there was civilian clothes hidden somewhere along with instructions where to go after escaping over the fence. Many of these stories were collected in the 1960s, searching for written memories and interviewing the rescued people. This was done by David Zilberman. He had published several books, and some of the facts that I am relating to you also have been taken from his books. Žanis and Johanna rescued around 60 people. An exact number is not known since they did not keep any kind of records. Žanis himself considered to have rescued only those who lived in his own house. Yet those who were taken to Dobele should definitely be added to this account. The rescued Jews recall that he had great plans and said that a few dozen people are nothing, that he should be able to save hundreds. I must note that sometimes people felt that what he promised seemed too good to be true. There is a number of cases when a rescued operation already in the works did not come to pass because people were afraid of the unknown and changed their minds at the last moment. Staying in the ghetto seemed to them safer than taking the risk of being caught and shot on the spot. The memorial to Žanis Lipke was only recently opened. The memorial of Žanis Lipke has only recently opened its doors, but we already have a number of interesting materials at our disposal. There are documents preserved by Lipke's family, and also those that have been found doing research in the archives in Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. There are also hundreds of letters of gratitude to Žanis Lipke and his family sent from all corners of the world. In the Soviet period, one could get into trouble for having saved Jews during the war. People kept information like that to themselves, so many cases have gone unrecorded. It is the task of the memorial to collect and investigate them. There are testimonies that the Lipke's family provided shelter also to other people, but these are pending confirmation. In her video interviews, Johanna Lipke, for instance, talks of the brothers Rosenbergs, whom the Soviets had parachuted down behind the front lines and who lived in the Lipke's bunker for a while. Of potentially great significance are the testimonies by Johann and Siegfried that after the German retreat, Lipke had sheltered some Latvian legionnaires in hiding from the Soviet regime. There is also evidence that before the war, when the authoritarian regime of Kārlis Ulmanis persecuted social democrats and communists, Lipke offered his help to them as well. Yet those facts still need to be checked out. Nevertheless, the story that Žanis was the kind of person who would rescue anyone whose life was in danger is truly beautiful. The Lipke's family survived the war. Everyone survived. Not one person was betrayed. The house of Johann and Žanis became a peaceful heaven where the rescuers and the rescued met twice a year to recall the time wrought with danger. The KGB searched the Lipke's house several times, suspecting Žanis of having hidden some valuables given him by the rescued Jews. Needless to say, nothing was found. In 1977, Žanis was miraculously allowed to leave the Soviet Union to visit his son Alfred, who was drafted into the German auxiliary service during the war, survived the bloody battles in the marshes of Volkhov, and ended up in Germany and later Australia after the war. The Israeli consul in Sydney presented Žanis with a medal Righteous Among the Nations that has been bestowed upon Žanis and Johanna already in 1966. On the same occasion, without informing the Soviet authorities, Žanis was flown to Israel where he planted the memorial tree by the Yad Vashem Museum in Israel. Žanis Lipke died in 1987 and Johanna in 1990. And then some pictures. This is our museum. I hope you all visit. And one of ideas is that design is close to idea how artists imagine how Noah's Ark could look like. Here is one of these examples. This is exhibition hall, and here you can see we found in family archive drawing of 8-year-old Ziggy's how this bunker looked like, and here you can see Jewish sukkah, and here how Latvian artists interpret this like a shelter for people in our museum. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Māris.